That's block and vent. That's very easy. Okay, I think that's all of the time I'm going to spend on this. So, in short, I don't have time. I'm a coach. I'm a coach. I'm a coach. Coaches at sports practice don't spend 5 minutes being really nice before they say, hey, your kick form is off. They just say, hey, your kick form is off. Please sit up. Thank you. They say, hey, your kick form is off because we don't have time to waste, right? And so don't take my constructive criticism personally. Have a growth mindset. Okay, you know, it's early and I get to like keep working towards it. Okay. Tell me very quickly what we have covered, because as soon as I finish hitting all of the writing standards so that you are writing to standard and I can like go, all right, I've done my best to make you like enter college and make professors go, who is it? Who is this Arjun guy? Where is he? Oh, right. So I believe this is what I have covered with you in terms of quality writing. Register, formal register. I know I've done that, right? Yeah? Can you guys please talk? Titles, I've done. I have not done introductions. I have not done thesis, what we will be calling claim. That's Common Core's language. I know that you know those things, but again, don't tune out because you think you know everything about those things. I'm going to give you what I consider advanced instruction on a thesis sentence that separates thesis sentence from yet another non-thesis sentence. I feel lucky. Okay, but I'm not. But it's okay. Okay, so today we'll do introductions and thesis. And I think I'll do images too. Yes, I will. We have done claim, evidence, and warrant. Have we not? Okay, all right. All right, so today I will do intro, and I will do thesis, and I will do image. Those of you who are plugging your computers in here, please stop. Look. Oh. And look. Because this thing is a walking landmine. You trip over it, and then you leave it up and open, and I have to come and squat down and get all dorky trying to fit the bent metal thingy. You know, it's just ridiculous. So please, I've given you electricity. Not right now. It's there. It's done.
Okay.
So notebooks out. Go to your skills page. Who's so tired? Okay. First on the art of writing with imagery. And I don't mean writing using words with imagery, I mean including images that, again, like a good title, like a good thesis, makes you go, nice. It's not brilliant, but it doesn't have to be brilliant. It simply has to be creative. I wrote, this is from 2008, this is the blog that because I knew how to write good titles and I knew how to write catchy intros, got me a job, got me a free week in Australia giving a speech, because I just like to write, and I did it on a silly blog in my underwear in Korea, and before I know it, I'm like in the top 20 list of education bloggers in the English language worldwide, based on polls of readership and all sorts of stuff. And I was just a guy who liked to write, and he did it every day, and enjoyed every single decision that he made about what should my title be, how, you know, what's a good name for this idea, and what's a good picture for this idea. So, and I wrote about education. I was an edu blogger. right? Horrible word. Blog is a horrible word. It's just writing online. Why do we call it blog? But anyway, I was teaching AP Lit in Korea, and I made the daring decision to teach a novel that is banned. I think here at this high school, you have to be 18 to check it out. Ridiculous. Lolita, the great, great 20th century novelist Vladimir Nabokov. Lolita. Critics have called it the greatest novel of the 20th century. And it is staggeringly, staggeringly high-quality literature on many levels. And I wanted to teach it because it's gosh, for everything. It's just, you know, you want your students to enjoy what they're reading. Well, heck, why is it so shocking and banned? Because it's about a 44-year-old French literature professor from France who comes to America, takes a room in a widowed housewife's Midwestern Ohio home, doesn't want to take the room until she takes him to the backyard, to the garden, on this nice summer day, and sees in the garden Lolita, sunbathing, and looking at him with the most non-11-year-old look that 11-year-olds should not transmit to 44-year-old men. And they end up having a love affair. And so, yeah, so it's shocking, it's morally, it was banned, it went to the Supreme Court in the United States. It's like James Joyce's works. You know, James Joyce was considered obscene at one point before he went on to be like the master of the 20th century. Why? Because certain types who like think that literature is where the good people win at the end and the bad people lose at the end, because that's what literature is, to paraphrase Oscar Wilde. They couldn't handle, right, the puritanical set. And so that's why teachers stay away from it. Well, I'm unschooly. I like to teach. I don't like to do school. I like to enjoy great things. So I taught it, and then I wrote about it. And so notice my title from 2008. Fear-based curriculum, a language arts tragedy. Now that's just because moron. I'm telling my readers, those of you who read the earlier Lolita posts, here's more, right? So ignore that. I like that title. Fear-based curriculum, language arts tragedy. Do you get the punning and all sort of thing, right? Tragedy, language arts curriculum. But in any case, and so why did I choose, instead of a picture, I'm going to Google Lolita, and I'm going to take the cover of the book Lolita, and I'm going to unimaginatively put the cover of the book Lolita on this post. Why did I not do that? Because that's unoriginal and that's predictable. When I assign students to write about the first emperor of the Qin dynasty who made the Great Wall, guaranteed I get 40 posts with pictures of the first emperor or the Great Wall. Congratulations, you're absolutely unoriginal. You don't know how to communicate cleverly with imagery. Why did I choose it? An ostrich. Thank you.
Because it's like fear-based curriculum, and then ostriches are kind of associated with that, kind of with their heads down in the dirt.
In the sand, yeah. They hide their head in the sand because they just want to deny everything that's scary, right? Oh, I'm scared. What do I do? What do I do? Put my head in the sand, as if that's going to fix things, right? The lion's still going to devour you. So it's better to confront these things. Now, so do you understand what I'm trying to communicate to you when we get to the point coming very soon? This one's less, but you know, heck, I was just a guy in his underwear blogging in Korea. This is before I realized that I could actually go towards a career. So you know, so I guess the skill that I'm asking you to think about is when you search for images, don't search for the subject that you're writing about. I'm not searching for Lolita here. I'm searching for banned books. And then I find images about book banning. And I have more interesting choices. Or I know that I want to do the ostrich hiding its head in the sand, because that's the image that I want for the other one. Because I'm talking about how, you know, what if parents freak out and, you know, come with their torches the way they came to the Frankenstein monster because this teacher is teaching their children great literature, which has a moral at the end, and they've never read it. And he's trying to make these kids fall in love with reading in an age that is not reading anymore. So, so I know I want that ostrich thing. So one way or the other, search by theme or by the image that you already want for your images. And again, you will just make people go, yum. And that's the whole point. Now, well, how do I put an image in a blog, Mr. Burrell? Well, here's how. Let me state the obvious. Until I get through all of the skills, I'm not through with all of the skills. I'm teaching skills, and that takes time away from the more interesting stuff, but it's necessary. So, oh. What'd your parents say? I want to hear it.
My mom compared you to a puppy.
A puppy.
I told him that, like, she's like, oh, he's really like cute and energetic like a puppy. And I'm just like, yeah, but he's also really mean. Now he doesn't like you.
Seriously? He said that's cold. He did not.
Yeah, no, sir.
My mom said you seemed like you had a lot of things to say.
I do. If you don't, I feel you.
My mom just said you were really excited.
My dad was very impressed with it. Like, he saw you 7th or something, and you were still acting as if it was the first time you were talking to people. You were just so full of energy and excited for your class.
Because I drink a dozen mugs, beer mugs of local coffee a day. And I make videos at 4 a.m. at the Hawker Center. Here's how to do it.
You will often want to add a picture to your posts. I'm going to add a map that I need to put right here. So, watch closely. There's a wrong way to do it and a right way to do it. You must do it the right way. It makes it prettier, and it makes the emails with the pictures not break the whole email. So, there's our picture.
I'm going to quickly, I just said it makes it, you break the emails. When I need to look at the email digest of all the posts from the day before, and I want to skim down them, there's always some bozo who ignores this, and they drag a picture that's like this big right onto the post, and then when it comes to the email, it makes the email window this wide because it has to make room for the whole picture. I'm teaching you how to put a picture in there and resize it, and also position it left, right, center, padding so that the text isn't up against the image, which is ugly. This is a design issue. Maybe a border. Maybe you want a little border to set it off, right? You really are thinking artistically here.
Click it. Very simple. It tells you to find or upload an image. Notice there are all sorts of things you can go to. Your Google Drive, all sorts of stuff, but I just want to upload a file. That's what I did last time. That's why it's there. So I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to my desktop and hit modified. There it is. It's right there. I'm just going to name it. I'm going to copy that so I can just paste it into the next field. And it's uploaded. That's the next field, image description. So I'm just going to put that same description there. Now, there's my picture right now. If I just hit insert, it's going to be all ugly. I want to talk about the appearance. So this right here, appearance. All right, notice it says alignment. Well, it's not set right now. Now watch this little section here. That's the picture as it stands right now because it's not set. It's going to change depending on, and give me a preview. See, when I put it middle, the text is in the middle there. I put bottom, the text is in the bottom. Text is in the top. Left, that just justifies it to the left and wraps the text around it. Right, it wraps the text around it. I'm going to do middle. No. Text bottom. All right, second. How big do you want the picture to be?
The important part.
I'm going to put it at about, say, 400. And watch, it will keep the proportions because I have that checked. So when I change one, it changes the other to keep the same proportion. Vertical space, that's how much room you have of blank space above and below the picture. I'm going to put like 3 pixels. Horizontal space, that's how much room you have to the right and left of the picture. So the text is not hitting it and bumping up to it. So I'll put 3 pixels there. Finally, maybe I want a border around the picture and set it off. So I'm going to put a 1 pixel thick border. That's it. Now I can insert, and there it is. I love this about Google. You can actually open it up. So there's my picture. It's got the little 1-inch border around it. I want it in the middle. 1 pixel. Good. So now I can go ahead and make those changes. It's that easy. I want you to do the same thing. Make sure that you set the size and the location by going to whatever that was, picture format. And there is our picture in blue.
If you don't like it, like I don't like that, it's too small. All you gotta do is click edit, and then you don't even have to go through all that rigmarole. You can just click on the picture and drag it to the size that you want. Click it, drag the corner, and resize it. How many of you knew how to do that beforehand? It's similar on any site, WordPress for blogging, which is what most places use. Nobody uses Blogger but SAS and other schools that are Google schools. Blogger is a horrible blogging platform. WordPress is for pros. All right. Okay. Okay, so now on to our writing standards. This is the book module, so again, it has tables of contents. Notice when it's responsive design, so it responds to how wide your margins are, and it will push and rearrange the different sections depending on that. iPhone, I sent you you can actually download the app for your iPhone and actually do stuff on your iPhone. So there we are. We've done formal, registered, and strong titles. Today we're going to do introductory paragraphs, your thesis meaning the central claim of my entire paper, not the claim of my paragraph, which is a topic sentence. And but we won't do topic sentences today. So very quick.
Mr. Bro,
Yes.
is there an Android app as well?
There is. I sent an email, I
Really?
believe, with links to both of them.
Okay.
Okay, so again, the logic here. It is absolutely valid. You have done a good title. So you have succeeded at interesting the person with just your difference, your extraordinariness with the title. You got to keep them hooked. So your introductory paragraph. Now, in this class, I'm going to teach you 2 ways to do it. One is the standard way, background information. And so let's talk about the function of that. What is my goal? I'm always thinking of the reader. I'm always thinking of the reader. So what is my goal? My goal is for the reader to understand everything that's essential that they might not understand, but just that's essential before I start talking about my idea. And so let's talk about the verb to situate. I need to situate my reader, right? Inform the reader of the necessary input of all your ideas. Situate your reader. Situate your reader. Tell them the situation so they can enjoy your idea. If you've done that, that's respectable, but it's not extraordinary. What's extraordinary is to situate them while also intriguing them, by weaving in the angle from which you are going to argue. So you're leading to your thesis, your central claim. And as you are giving the situation, you are also trying to hint at or introduce, smuggle in the theme, the claim, the idea that you're going to talk about. So you're doing 2 things at once. Interest the reader in your angle of thought on the topic as you are situated. So those are the 2 functions of an introductory paragraph, leading up to, now, let me tell you what I'm going to argue in the entire paper or following paragraph. So for it to be an A, it must situate a reader, it must be concise. You can do this in 4 or 5 sentences. 4 or 5 sentences. How long should it be? If it's more than 4 or 5 sentences, it's probably too long. I went through the stage in college where I had to learn, when teachers would give me back my essays, that took 3 or 4 paragraphs to get to my thesis, because I've always had a lot to say. Who was it that said I seemed to have a lot to say? RJ, yeah, right. Even when I was like a college student, right, a young 20-year-old college student. Or like, red ink, the essay could start here. Very polite, I just wrote 3 paragraphs and you're telling me that I didn't need to write those 3 paragraphs, and they were right. So 4 or 5 sentences before you get to your thesis. More than that, you need to start thinking, am I long-winded? Am I saying too much? Am I throwing unnecessary information in here? So, that's why it has situates the reader, is concise. What does concise mean? 4 or 5 sentences. And is interesting. That's extraordinary. Ordinary meets the standards, is it situates the reader, and it's concise. Okay, that's B-level stuff. You gotta smuggle in your angle on it. Now I'm gonna just tell you 2 types that I have arguments for the use of. The one is basic. Now, so how do I situate my reader? This is the value of the things that you've heard a million times, but I'm trying to make you, if you haven't already, understand that it's relevant. The 5 W's. They need to know who, what, where, when, why, before I start talking about the so what, the what's interesting. They need to know the basic things surrounding my situation that I'm going to talk about. And then, of course, in your introductory paragraph, for those of you who don't know, and there are high school students who still don't know this, the last sentence of your introductory paragraph is your thesis, your claim. My whole paper is about this. This is my central claim for the entire paper. My central claim. My thesis sentence. That's the last sentence of your paragraph. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you're trying to angle to that in such a way that they now get the situation, they're interested in it, and then they're like, oh, and this is what they're going to argue about it. Cool, I'm interested in this. Now, so that's the basic. The 5 W's with a thematic angle, again, meaning your angle. So that's the smuggling in your thing again. So as I'm giving the 5 W's, I'm also introducing the angle from which I'm going to try to interest my reader in the idea of. That's one kind. The second kind, this is my language, don't go out talking to professors about the kitchen sink intro because they'll look at you like you're as weird as I am, but who knows the idiom, everything but the kitchen sink? It means to, like, gosh, he like included everything but the kitchen sink. Well, why didn't he include the kitchen sink? Because it was the only thing in the room that he couldn't pull up and include on the pile because it's, you know, nailed to the counter, right? You can't pull out the kitchen sink. Thus the idiom in American English, everything but the kitchen sink. Okay. So, what is a kitchen sink intro, and when's it useful? I'll start with the when is it useful. You're writing an SAT paper. It's a timed essay. You don't have any time to be interesting in any way, thank you SAT, or you're writing an AP paper. You have no time to be really brilliant because you don't know what you're going to write about. You have 10 minutes to plan it. It's ridiculous and stupid. How can you still distinguish yourself? Well, you can show how much you know in your introductory paragraph that you don't have time to talk about that's related to the subject. Let me demonstrate. And I'm going to demonstrate in a brief summary, or even, if you read me carefully, you see how carefully I write to you. A brief summary, or even single sentence, comma separated list. In a single sentence, comma separated, a series of details. I'm going to show how much I could say about geography in China, but don't have time to because I'm only going to talk about the floods of the less soil on the Yellow River from the Gobi Desert, right? So we're talking about geographic determinism in China, and so I'm going to do the brief summary, single sentence, comma separated, and then I'm going to do this plus all of these fascinate concerning geographic determinism, plus my thesis. Most fascinating of all, however, is, and you hit your thesis. Here's the demonstration. The nomad-filled steppe stretching from Poland to Siberia, comma. The Himalayas separating China from India for 2,000 years, comma. The Taklamakan Desert, the Gobi Desert, the Southern Tropics, and the Pacific Ocean surrounding China with what might as well be empty space and keeping it isolated for over 1,000 years, colon. All of these are fascinating examples of geographic determinism in China's evolution, comma, but none is more fascinating than the role of a simple soil type mixing with China's Yellow River to create its political system from the earliest times, period. My thesis is I'm going to talk about the effects of geography on China's politics. I've told you, though, that I could talk about the Himalayas, I talk about the continent. Look how much he knows, and he told you in one sentence. Now, your reader of SAT or AP is going to go, damn, this guy knows a lot, this girl knows a lot, right? So that's the value of the kitchen sink. When you don't have time to really do well because it's a stupid schooly essay. Right? Now, this is online, so I want to give you time to start reading. I just included a thesis, a central claim. So this whole paper is going to be about the effects of the Yellow River and the West soil from the Gobi Desert on China's political evolution, right? The cause and effect. So we're talking now thesis. We, at SAS, now use the term claim because it's a better term. It explains more. I'm claiming something here. Now I've got to back it up, right? By the way, you're a brilliant writer.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm getting to know some of you because I don't know you. A lot of you I know, so you're one I don't know. And really nicely done. Marissa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you don't know that a thesis or a central claim is ideally one sentence, you should know that by now. You should know that by 3 years ago. Because I, your reader, am going, so what are they going to argue? I'm going to talk about how a soil type and a river determined thousands of years of political evolution. Wow, that's interesting. Right? In one sentence, I just told you what I'm going to talk about for this whole picture. Right? And you want to interest the reader in the quality, and that usually involves keyword. Picture me standing on my head to make you a capital H hear this. Complexity, he italicizes, beyond the obvious. If your idea is obvious for anybody with 2 eyes and half a brain between their ears, then it's not very interesting to read, is it? We don't want to hear about the obvious stuff. We want you to show us something that is less obvious. So there is the short link, that's formal, and then there's the quality thing. Have I found an angle that's actually pretty interesting? Most people don't. Most people have never connected the Yellow River, the West soil, and China's politics, and political values, and authoritarianism, and all that sort of stuff. Nobody has ever, most people haven't made cause-effect arguments from climate to politics. Here's my last piece of advice on that. What's the opposite of complex? Simple. Okay? Simple. And how do we define simple? It's got one component. How do I make a thesis complex? By having more than one component. What were the 2 components of my thesis?
Chinese politics.
Geography and politics, right? Now, and how does that become complex? Because it establishes some type of relationship between them. Cause-effect, comparison-contrast. So there's some sort of, something dynamic going on there. They're dynamic, active. There's something happening between these factors. And so you're promising something that's complex and not simple. Simple is obvious. Okay? Am I making sense? All right, thank you. That's all I've got to say about theses. Again, as students told me at the end of last semester, Mr. Brown, I wish you would have done this at the beginning of the semester. I feel weird doing it at the beginning of the semester. I did it halfway through HOC last year. I feel weird doing it at the beginning because I'm spending so much time up here in front of the room and I want to get to the meat and the juice. But on the other hand, I have seen student writers enough to know that they really do need to apply this in most cases. I have a couple or 3 people in this room who I almost want to pay to stand up and teach writing themselves, but I have to think of everybody. By the way, speaking of that, the value of those forums, quality speaks for itself. Now, Carissa blew me away. Your ideas were original and complex and insightful and interesting, and I was sincerely interested in the things that came out of your very brief, no, not very brief, reasonably brief response. How long did it take you to write that?
Half hour?
Exactly, good, because I don't want to hear more than, really, I was hoping you'd say 20 minutes, right? Was it you or your brother, years ago, who your parents emailed me and said, they're spending hours on these forums. I'm like, it's supposed to be 20 minutes. Was it you?
No.
Was your brother?
Yeah.
Okay. And not just your brother. I mean, it happens all the time, right? How many of you, like, if you're spending more than 20 minutes, 25 minutes, look over your notes, use that Q column to sort of like review and like, oh, yeah, I see some interesting stuff there, and throw it on there, and get used to writing fast. Not carelessly, but fast. So now I get to check off intro, thesis, and image. Lovely. We haven't done claim evidence and warrant? Seriously? Okay. Oh, but in any case, so, the quality speaks for itself. Please sit up. The quality speaks for itself. You skim those a couple of times at the beginning. You identify the people who write really well. I tried to kind of help you by like putting titles that said brilliant in so many words. Look at them because they're your age. And they're examples of what writers can do. And so you can go back and you can like peer learn instead of like the other thing. Wait for the teacher to teach you. Quality speaks for itself. When you read something like, that's really good, then go on to the metacognitive thing. What are they doing that I'm not doing? That is so good. And imitate. Renaissance artists imitated Michelangelo and Leonardo to become great artists. Imitate. All right, thank God I'm done with that. Please go to your email. I'm a puppy who's got a lot to say.
Energetic puppy.
I know. I can't believe you told him I'm mean.
I'm honestly my mom.
You gave me a gift. Why would you give me a gift if you thought I was mean?
That's why I like you, because you're mean.
I'm not mean.
You're passionate, not mean, but you
I
are
think
passionate.
you're mean. So's my mom.
How many of you think I'm mean?
I do.
You can be honest. I'm not mean. I give you freaking tea and I slap you on the back. Jesus, you're weird. Dimple, you're weird. Alright. Oh my God, I'm eating bread with a wireless microphone. You're gonna hear me smacking bread. Oh, sorry. Okay, so in your email, you have two emails from me. One is a link and one is an attachment. Please open both of them.
I think it's just an attachment.
Oh, let me send the link. I thought I forwarded it. Forwarded it. You just got the attachment? Okay, well watch it. I will resend it because I did send it. You guys are B2. China in the West, 14 more. See if you got it. Refresh, go back to your inbox.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Go back to your inbox, man.
I did.
Maybe it's taking a minute to go to America and come back here. Might take a couple of seconds.
Come on.
Where's Google doing it to us again?
Oh God, what is it doing?
Got it.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh, okay, right. Oh. Now coming back on. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, that's funny. I was looking at your parents' faces and I was like, what? pay to have like telepathy right now. Is that mind reading? Telepathic power?
Yeah.
Telepathy reading mind?
Telepathy is reading minds, telekinesis is moving things with the mind.
I thought I knew what I was talking about. What am I looking for? Okay. Abby, remember this? Sarah, remember this? But you know what? This time, it's not history of China. So, but I didn't have time because I have not had time this week. I didn't have time to add the third column. The questions remain. Please give me your attention.
Which was it?
Please give me your attention. Lower your screen so that. First of all, a lot of you, I really do, I enjoyed the quality of questions that you asked after like seeing what shocked and turned my head and really made me go, because I never knew about China, right? It's like when I first started studying China, I was like, how? Right? When I discovered that historical lab experiment, I was like, astonishing, astonishing. There is a human civilization that could have and did not resort to the lowest, most brutal instincts. That astonished me. And it made me wonder, how could I do that? Look at Abby. Your facial reaction to that was fun. So, and you said, so it is a curious question. What was it about the development of these two civilizations that led to this and so forth? Also, again, notice, now we can go back to China with its aircraft carrier going out into the sea. That's the first time China has launched a massive ship since Zhenghe in 1405, 1435, last one, all right? So it has literally been 600 years since China has done that. Here they are again. You are so lucky. If my intuition is true, if my intuition is true, at 26 years old, I had an intuition so strong that I remember I'm 52 now. The intuition was, you're going to die at 52. Well, I'm 52. My birthday is May 5th. So if my intuition was true, and I'm not woo-woo, but I know I don't know, if I tapped into the future, then I'll be dead by May 4th. And I won't be able to watch, for the coming decades, whether China acts like the Ming Dynasty, or acts like Portugal, because times have changed, and so has China, right? Or whether this civilization will still behave surprisingly and beautifully the way it did during the Ming, right? So in any case, back to this. So we're hitting it now. These are the deepest roots, what you're going to read. Your three texts. The Bible's Genesis, chapters 1 and 2. This is called cosmology if you want. You don't need it. Cosmology. The study of the origins of the universe and its mysteries. That includes, how did the universe get here? What is man's role, humanity's role in it? Is there a divinity? And if so, what is that divinity's relationship to us? And what is our relationship to that divinity? Fourth, nature itself. What is our relationship to the natural world? Because there are different possibilities, because this thing called culture offers different answers depending on where you happen to plop out of your parents' loins. I'm quoting Homer. So these are the questions that you're looking for in nowcomment. I will show you how to try that in a second. How long did it take to form the universe according to the Jews? Some of you are going to be uneducated and talk about the Christians here. This is the Hebrew Bible. Flash alert. It was around for 400, 500, 600 years before this guy called Jesus ever existed. All right? It's Judaism. It's not Christianity. So please don't make that category mistake. You sound ignorant if you do that. We're talking about the Hebrew Bible, not the Christian Bible. In the Bible, how long did it take the universe to form? In rhetorical questions. In the Chinese narrative that you will read, how long? And then in the Greek. The third column is, next to Homer, there's only one poet of equal importance, and equally early to Homer. Anybody know his name? Hesiod. Hesiod. He wrote two texts, Works and Days, our earliest record narrative of ancient Greece, domestically, agriculturally during peacetime, and the theogony. And the theogony that means theo, God, goni, creation of, origin of. So the origin of the gods. So all these stories that you've heard from Greek mythology, they come from Hesiod. Pandora's box, the birth of Aphrodite from a very strange origin. It's so fun to think about. It's so fun to think about. It's so fun to think about. So how long did it take the universe to form in both of these? What is the origin of nature? What's nature's relationship to humans? The meaning of natural disasters. Floods happen. What does it mean? Depending on the culture you're in, it means a different thing. If you're bored, I pity you. If you can't pay attention, I pity you. Because depending on how you react to bad fortune, the world is a very different place, right? Your interpretation of bad fortune makes the world you live in, because of what your culture has taught you, a very different place. We have 3 different cultures teaching 3 very different things. And these are the roots, the deepest roots, literally the earliest narrative texts of all 3 cultures, except for the Chinese, which is not actually. Gods. What are God's roles toward humans? What's their attitude towards humans? 2 very different things. My role toward, my attitude towards. The human status in the universe, again. Now, and I want you to pay attention to these questions because I told you you've got research stuff coming up. So you're going to be reading and looking for evidence here because after all, this is the question. We're starting to answer the question. Our status, here we are, we're in the universe. Our status here. Are we special? Are we dependent on gods? These 3 different belief systems culturally, how would they make us view ourselves? Because they tell us our role and all that sort of thing, and they give us our self-image as a species and an individual. Human nature. Reading Zheng He, discovering the Ming Voyages, I was like, wow, human nature, that great cop-out of all people who want an easy excuse to be dishonest and corrupt and cutthroat and sorry, but I'm going to make you suffer to get rich myself because that's just human nature, right? That cheap excuse, oh, that's just human nature. We're competitive, violent, brutal, and barbaric by nature. Darwinian. Doesn't the Ming Voyages and the Ming civilization complicate that? By showing that human nature can actually resist the lowest instincts in at least that culture. So I love this question about human nature. Those of you who take psychology, you should have interesting things to connect to. Is it good or evil? Is human nature strong or is it weak? Is it competent or is it incompetent? Do we F up a cup of ice water, to quote the great movie Wise Guys? No. What's that Scorsese film?
Funny Man? Funny?
Joe Pesci? Goodfellas.
Casino? No. Casino?
No. Was it Casino?
You didn't do Goodfellas, it was Casino.
And Joe Pesci has that great word about this guy who's just like such an idiot. He's like, he'd F up a cup of ice water, right? I
Yeah.
love that line, right? Competent or incompetent? Innocent or guilty? Wise or foolish? Those are the questions. Now, what is this now comment thing? University of Virginia is using it in its law school. I showed it to parents last night, and 2 parents, both of whom were lawyers, came up afterwards and said, that is exactly what, I'm so happy to see you doing that, because that's exactly what what's needed. And I mentioned how, you know, I did talk to your, I had 10 minutes to tell your parents a lot of stuff. That's why I was amped up, because I wanted them to understand all sorts of stuff. I'm going to be like making some provocative claims, and I don't want parents like screaming and fainting or whatever, because I'm actually making you think critically about your views of China and your own superiority to it, typically, and all sorts of stuff, right? So, so I had a lot to say. And another one was, I'm going to turn your kids into better writers. And I've got professor friends, and professor friends tell me, God, entering freshmen, did you guys teach them anything? Because they're crap as writers, right? They're pathetic. And the parent lawyers came up and said, it's true. We see interns now from universities who still don't have proper grammar, good style, anything. So they're like, thank you for this, and close readings exactly. This makes you read closely. So, how does it work? Wrong document. I don't want to show you this because This was me reading just the 2.5 pages of the book of Genesis, chapters 1 and 2, Adam and Eve and the creation. This is me. I don't expect this of you. I just found it fascinating to line by line go through it and that sort of thing. Don't kill yourselves unless you have passion. Unexpected. Oh, okay. Is that what I sent you a link to? Does it have other students' comments on it? Huh? No? Does it have my comments on it? No, sorry, that's...
It says you are not authorized to access.
Oh, well, I sent you an email several days ago with an invitation to this, so please create an account.
When I click on the link, it says you're not authorized to access that page.
Okay, let me send another link.
Are you off of the like password reset or something?
Yeah, I edited the document, so... How many are any of you in? Can you create an account? Is there a create an account link for you?
Yeah, we already
We already have it on
accounts.
Oh, okay, thank you. When I heard I can't get in, I thought that meant I can't get in.
There's like a
not I can't
permission
find the
problem.
document.
Yeah.
Maybe we can comparisons thing. Move it to test whatever.
Oh, you're beat. Okay. Oh, I separated you from B1. Okay.
You have to get this here, yes.
I'm sorry, you're B2. I separated you from B3. I thought I combined you. So I'm looking for now. You guys are B2.
Two.
This is the one. Okay, there's not a single comment on this document. Let me invite you very quickly. Invite. And you are B2. All of you. Now, if you click on your My Group or B2 or something like that, or refresh your browser, you should see a document that says Biblical Chinese Greek. And please open it. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to very quickly demonstrate to you how this thing works. I'm going to go down to the Chinese one. And I'll delete everything that I've shown you. So please notice a couple of things, just again, user experience. First, I don't like having so much space. Yours probably looks like that. Notice you can drag that over and give yourself more space on the reading side, simply by dragging that divider over. That way. Second, now, is that just Genesis? Yeah. Okay, I'll add the other two. I know how to do that. let's start on in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. All right, now look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen. I'm going to show you very quickly and then cut you loose. I double-clicked on it, and this is what it brought up. Arjun, I double-clicked on it. You double-click on a sentence, has to be double, and this is what it brings up. Summary of comment. This is the level that we really encourage you to use. It's like Twitter, it's 255 characters. So that's the level we encourage. This is optional. As you're reading through, if you start seeing things, especially when you go from one text, one culture to another, and you're like, uh-oh, comparisons, contrasts are starting to come, it's getting interesting now. And you've got an idea, you're going to be writing research, you're going to be writing, like, practice papers and all sort of stuff, so this is a good place for you to find your evidence, capture your ideas as they come. And so if you've got one that's like, this one's major, this would be really interesting to Mr. Burrell, other readers, whatever, then you do have more room here. But I like the fact that it tries to make you concise, like my responses to blog posts, to forum posts were concise. Capture the idea concisely in 2 or 3 sentences, whatever, right? And so you simply write, right? And you start the conversation. Watch what happens. First of all, there is now a number 1. And so anytime you see comments, you can click on that little speech bubble, and it will take you right to that one. Now, okay, so somebody said something. I hope to see this. Literary responses, or simply that's gorgeous because, or philosophical ones. Really, if you believe this, then? Or, I'm confused here. I'll tell you, I'm totally confused by Kronos grabbing his father's junk, chopping it off, throwing it over his shoulder titanically because he was a titan, and and it's flying, spewing sperm through the night sky that he's just castrated, until it hits the Aegean Sea, starts foaming up, and a clamshell rises, and there's Aphrodite, goddess of love. Son castrates father, and from that comes love. Somebody please explain it to me. That's a perfect question for a comment, right? What do you think of this? And then you can reply to each other. Right, so I'm going to reply to that brilliant, right, like that. And it's threaded again. And so somebody else can click here, and it will go back here, just like the Moodle form, right? I don't know what happened to web designers to say it's not important to have threaded responses. Yes?
Is this like the form in the sense that you can't see each other's stuff until you post?
I asked the last class, which already did this, and I said, would you rather me disable other people's comments until you are finished commenting your first read yourself? And they're like, no, I like seeing other people's thoughts and that sort of thing, and it also reduces clutter. If somebody else has already said it, then I don't need to say it again, sort of thing. I might reply so that I can check all my responses by simply saying, I noticed that too. That's interesting. Or whatever you have to add, but don't be redundant. Okay? So the final thing I'll tell you, there is a highlighter here. I encourage you to use it, but notice. Use the private. You can customize it, by the way. You can change the things, you can change these headings, customize it, play with it. But don't use the public, because then you'll be spamming up all our text with your red highlight everywhere, right? And we'll all want to destroy you, after school, in the back alley. So, do you have any questions? Now, it is 3 texts. The Chinese text is very easy. It's a summary from a secondary source. It's not the primary source. The Greek one is the one that is going to make you hate me a little bit. But it's only maybe 10 pages. And I edited out the paragraphs where Peleus, or no, some god of the sea, I forgot his name, right? Laid with so-and-so because it's about the creation of the gods. And so there's just god breeding going on all over the place, right? So-and-so gave birth to this goddess, this goddess, this goddess. And they name this prolixit Greek. He names 50 goddesses in a paragraph. It was 8 lines. I read the entire thing, thank me, don't hate me, because I was they don't need to read those 50 ridiculous Greek names. And I deleted them, and I put ... in brackets, and put, and 50 more, period. Right? So a lot of this clutter of Greek names I cut out for you. You want to know why Westerners who are Judeo-Christian and Greek are different from, and all sort of thing. You want to understand the West, it's 2 cultures, Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman. And these are the roots of both of them. Now, This is not AP World, where I'm telling you to read a chapter of a textbook full of dry facts with no particular questions other than know it because you're going to fill out bubble sheets. So those of you who are mature, thank you for looking forward to this. Those of you who aren't, I look forward, I wish you well, all right? It's enjoyable stuff. I'm serving you 3 very interesting readings. I'm done. Start now. You got 2 days to simply finish reading them. And have some thoughts. This looks dangerous. But anyway.
Mr. Burl,
Yes.
what is this?